With the Pro Valorant season already rapidly approaching its first major event, Masters Madrid, there have already been earth-shattering upsets and unlikely heroes throughout the kickoff tournament. But no surprise was bigger than the newest superstar in Valorant, Karmine Corp's N4RRATE, who just last season played on the worst Tier 2 team in North American Valorant, to now winning the EMEA kickoff tournament, becoming the king of Europe. So I decided to dive deep into the stats and analyze why exactly N4RRATE turned from low-tier warrior to the perfect superstar. But before I ask you to subscribe, I want to let you know about the Valorant podcast that me and another VCT creator, Zeph, are producing, called Exit Frag, which will have its first episode already out now or just about to be released. Either way, it'll be in the card right here and in the description. But ultimately, it's a Valorant podcast going into all the major happenings in the Pro Valorant world, keeping you up to date with all things VCT, with guests each episode, all throughout the season, so make sure you check that out. So last year, N4RRATE played on Mad Lions, who, along with Disguised, were relegated from the NA Challengers League, meaning they would have to fight to once again make it through the open qualifiers to have a chance to compete in Tier 2, something that both these rosters decided not to go through, as they both of course disbanded. But when looking closer at the stats of the team that went 3-10, there seemed to be a diamond in the rough in their young 20-year-old duelist, as he put up the highest ACS in the Challengers League, as well as the highest average damage per round, something you really want from an entry player, as well as one of the best first kill averages all year. This was truly a player to look out for in 2024. And when Karmine Corp decided to move away from the roster Scream and Nevera built to a brand new team, with already legendary coach Aang at the head of it, they saw what no other team in his own region saw in him, as on December 12th, the new Karmine Corp was unveiled, with N4RRATE going from relegated to Tier 3 to now a starter in the VCT. And he and the team didn't take that chance lightly, as they first were able to shock the Valorant world by even making out of the group stages, right into a grueling play-ins. But this is where N4RRATE and his team really turned it up, sweeping both Vitality and Koi, who both look like formidable teams. But the real test was their almost impossible match to make it to Madrid, where they faced the powerhouse Fnatic. But of course we know the rest. They played lights out, winning 2 maps with the entire team becoming stars in the process to qualify for Masters Madrid. They continued on to win the grand finals against Team Heretic to finish the run, with N4RRATE becoming instantly one of the brightest stars in Valorant. And the main reason is because of the jaw-dropping stats he was dropping on some of the absolute best in the world, putting up a 249.9 ACS. That is the third highest in the event, behind Miniboo and Takas, who both exclusively play duelist/entry roles, which can heavily inflate combat scores. So really, on his role, no one could touch him. But along with that, he was the most efficient player in the tournament, with him picking up a 78% CAS, meaning 78% of the time he was either a neutral or positive aspect for his team in the round. And while he became a more efficient player this year, you would think his damage output had decreased, but in actuality it increased slightly from when he was playing in Tier 2. That's just insane. Like, he went from playing OR esports and relegation and losing, to sweeping Fnatic to make it to a Masters event. And those matches were only 7 games apart from each other. So what has changed from last year to now that has made him the rising star we see before us? Well, I would say there's one huge difference in N4RRATE's game that has elevated his play this year. During his time with Mad Lions, he primarily played the entry role, with most of his time spent on Jett and Raze and occasionally Neon. And while he picked up kills consistently for his team, his impact on the game wasn't as big, which we can see in a round against the Guard, where on Lotus, N4RRATE's whole job on the attack is to be the first to peak angles for his team, as the tip of the spear, as his aim on the team is the best. And while this sometimes works to their advantage, to just hope N4RRATE is able to out-reaction time his opponent, other times the defense will not allow him to take aim duels, like we see here. Instead, his team is required to use one of their site exits in a 5v5 situation. And with no presence anywhere else in the map, those on the Guard know to sit back on B and absorb the attack, rather than letting N4RRATE's insane aim get the first kill and have the advantage on site. Of course, Mad Lion's stratting isn't the best, as Trick satchels right into a Spectre, putting N4RRATE into the position that he has to make some sort of hero play to save the round, as the only duelist left, resulting in him overextending from his team to a terrible angle to be eliminated, losing to the Guard's bonus, leading to a 1-8 attacking side to lose the map. This lack for reliable structure forced Mad Lions' best player to feel as though he had to make something happen for his team each round, resulting in him making poor individual decisions without the rest of his team. Compare that to how Karmine Corp utilizes him on the exact same map and site on their attack. with him switching from a duelist agent to now Fade, as he has now switched from being the first point of contact for his team to now the spike planner, where against Team Heretic in the grand finals, they're able to go 11-1 on the attacking side. And it's really in large part to how he plays these rounds now, as the planter rather than entry, as his decision making has increased tenfold. Here, just like the last round we saw, Team Heretics, like any good team in this type of B attack, decides to pull back to the choke points, throwing util to slow down Karmine Corp to buy time for a powerful retake. The main difference for N4RRATE is where he is in the initial attack, from the front to further back with the rest of the team, allowing Marteen to try and take space with a showstopper. But here's where Marteen shows he is a better Raze player than N4RRATE had before, as instead of satcheling deep into sight to take as much space as possible like Trick did, Marteen takes a shallower dive, utilizing the longer front of sight to clear out popular rat angles, which is helped by N4RRATE's haunt coming in. While the rocket can't find anyone, it gives Karmine a 5v5 post plant, with N4RRATE picking up his ult because of the plant, which is something that really helps Karmine, as by putting your best aimer on the plant roll as an initiator means you're getting way more useful ultimates that can completely shut down rounds. And after the plant, he goes back with the rest of his team to play off them on site. And even after losing the first kill, they're all placed so well with each other to absorb the loss and not give up any space, as Team Heretics has to take fights from every angle, with N4RRATE set up like a mini turret on the box to just fry Miniboo and Benji Fishy, as they enter site unable to really fight back. This forcing of N4RRATE to stay back with his team allows him to be a much scarier player later in rounds, which instead causes the other team to feel like they have to make hero plays to win these rounds, even when they have the lead. That's why N4RRATE is an almost perfect superstar for this team, as Karmine Corp works best when each player plays in their specific role, as they have the talent and skills to click heads with the best of them, and all they really need from N4RRATE is for him to play with his team, as he'll still rake up frags as he did on Duelist. And while he found great success in a new role, on Bind, Karmine's new head coach, Aang, has revitalized N4RRATE's Raze to run circles around the competition. This is the only map he has kept the same role, but it's clear that the strategies and skills that his teammates have completely changed what he can do within the game plan on defense. So let's compare his other match against the guard with Mad Lions and his play-in match against Koi, where he had drastically different binds. First, we look at the guard match, where N4RRATE is taking a position in hookah, where he holds this mid choke point. This positioning is very limiting for him, as for the first 25 seconds of the round, he just held here, as the rest of his team on B pushes down to B lobby, where they're hoping to either get a favorable timing or a stun kill off the dog. But neither really happened, as Ainge dry peaks where he picks off an unaware Valen, but is traded out quickly, getting really no new space. At the same time as this, N4RRATE believes he can maybe catch his own timing in mid on Tex, but being the good player Tex is, he's aware of this possible push out, killing and overextending N4RRATE at only 39 seconds into the round, without a single piece of util being used by him. This is an insane way to utilize your most skilled player, as the guard is able to completely take him out of the game, but not even going near him, rather hoping for timings on their dry peaks, which isn't a reliable strategy against better teams that can trade off each other. But with that round loss, it snowballed into 2 more losses to put Lions' great start into a 13-11 loss in the map. Compare this now to how much more active N4RRATE is on defense with Karmine. Here they set him up in A tower, where it makes much more sense for a player like N4RRATE to be in, as he's able to oversee all of the open and wide A site with his satchels and nades that can completely stop attacks from either choke point. And if he gets overwhelmed or needs to rotate to B, he has a quick getaway towards spawn. And while the attack doesn't go towards him in this round, he's able to be at B in no time. Unfortunately for him in this round, he gets timinged by Camo, but Karmine is able to pull the 3v4 back thanks to some great individual skill. But you can see clearly how they have used N4RRATE in a much more active role on this map than before, while pointing N4RRATE into positions to best use his skills along with the rest of his team. So with this young team firing on all cylinders, with a new superstar ready to take his LAN debut, how do I think Karmine Corp will do in Masters Madrid? Well, you'll have to subscribe with notifications on to find out, as I'll be posting a Masters Madrid video real soon, with all sorts of detailed statistics to determine who is mathematically the best team in Masters Madrid. So you won't want to miss out. Also, make sure you check out the Exit Frag podcast, with the first episode out now. You can click on it right here.